What if I told you that 500 of the world's richest people all followed the same 13 principles? Not luck, not inheritance, principles. In 1937, Napoleon Hill spent 20 years interviewing titans like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. He discovered patterns, rules, a blueprint that anyone could follow. Let me show you exactly how these principles turn nobodies into millionaires. Law 1, desire without limits. Edwin Barnes had nothing. No money, no connections, no college degree. But he had something most people lack, a specific, burning desire. He didn't want a job at Edison's company. He wanted to be Edison's business partner. Think about that. A broke kid wanting to partner with the Thomas Edison. He was the Bill Gates of his era. Barnes couldn't even afford a train ticket to New Jersey. So he hopped a freight train, showed up at Edison's lab looking like he'd been sleeping in ditches. Edison later recalled that Barnes looked terrible that day, but his eyes showed something different. Determination, a fire that said this guy wasn't leaving until he got what he came for. Edison gave him a shot, not as a partner, as a low-level assistant doing work nobody else wanted. Basically, the corporate equivalent of sweeping floors. Most people would have quit, felt insulted, moved on. Not Barnes. He knew proximity was power. Stay close to Edison, wait for the right moment, then strike. 5 years passed. Nothing changed. Still the same menial work, still nowhere near partner status. Eureka! And he didn't just sell it, he dominated. Sold so much that Edison gave him exclusive national distribution rights. That's how Barnes became Edison's partner. That's how he became a millionaire. What made the difference? Specificity. Barnes didn't say, I want to work in technology, or I want to make money. I want to be Thomas Edison's business partner. Crystal clear, no wiggle room. Hill calls this a definite chief aim. Step 1, pick an exact number, not I want to be rich. Say I want $500,000. Step 2, decide what you'll give in return. What service? What product? Step 3, set a deadline. No deadline means no urgency. No urgency means no action. Step 4, create a plan. Doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to exist. Step 5, write it down. Make it physical. Make it real. Step 6, read it twice daily. Morning and night. Out loud. With emotion. See it as already done. By December 2026, I will have $200,000. I'll earn it by scaling my software agency to $30,000 per month in revenue. I'll deliver this by solving inventory management problems for e-commerce brands better than anyone else. That's specific. That's a definite chief aim. Law 2, faith that defies logic. Hill's son was born without ears. Doctors said he'd never hear, never speak. Essentially deaf and mute for life. Hill refused to accept it. Not out of denial, but out of faith. He decided his son would hear and speak, regardless of what medical science said. But desire alone wasn't enough. Hill had to plant that same belief in his son's mind. Problem: the kid couldn't hear him. Then Hill discovered something. If he pressed his lips against the bone where the ear should have been, his son could pick up vibrations, enough to understand words. So every night I told my son stories, not fairy tales, strategic stories designed to program one idea into that child's brain. Your disability isn't a weakness, it's an advantage. Hill had no idea how deafness could be an advantage. None. But he kept telling the story anyway, because faith doesn't wait for proof. He refused to send his son to a special school, refused to let him learn sign language. The kid sat in regular classes, only hearing teachers when they shouted directly at his head. He created a 2-year marketing plan, presented it to the company. They hired him on the spot. His disability became his career. His limitation became his leverage. But here's the wildest part. Doctors examined him again. X-rays showed no physical pathway from where his ears should be to his brain. Medically, he shouldn't have been able to hear at all. And yet, he could hear everything. Hill concluded, when desire meets faith, impossible becomes irrelevant. How do you build that kind of faith? Your subconscious believes what you repeatedly tell it, even if it's not true yet. So repeat your definite chief aim twice daily with emotion. Feel it as already accomplished. Your brain will start believing it. Autosuggestion is just a fancy term for self-programming. You tell your mind what to believe until it believes it. He'll use this with his son through bedtime stories. Stories where the boy could hear. Stories where deafness was power. Repeated every night with feeling. Your subconscious doesn't argue, doesn't fact-check. It just listens. Feed it the same message with emotion long enough, it accepts it as truth. Think of your subconscious as a garden. What you plant grows. Plant nothing. Weeds grow. Those weeds are negative thoughts, doubt, fear, all the reasons you'll fail. Hill planted positive seeds. His son grew up believing he could hear, and eventually, he did. Here's your action step. Don't just read your goal. Feel it. See yourself already having that money, delivering that service, closing that deal. When I set my goal to hit $10,000 per month, I bought a fake $10,000 stack and kept it on my desk. I could see it, touch it, feel it, every single day. Don't worry about the perfect plan. Your job isn't figuring out how. Your subconscious will supply the plan, often as sudden flashes of inspiration. When those ideas appear, respect them and act on them immediately. Law 4, specialized knowledge over general information. Henry Ford never finished school, didn't have a college degree, didn't read philosophy or study advanced mathematics. Yet he built one of America's most successful companies and became a legend. During World War I, a newspaper called him ignorant. Ford sued. The case went to trial. The newspaper's lawyers tried proving I was stupid. They asked questions like, who was Benedict Arnold? And how many British soldiers fought in the Revolutionary War? Ford didn't know, got frustrated. Finally said, if I wanted to answer foolish questions, I have a row of buttons on my desk. I push one, and an assistant who knows the answer appears. Why should I clutter my mind with general knowledge when I have experts who can supply any information I need? That statement shut everyone up. Ford wasn't stupid, he was focused. He was smart about what not to learn. His focus stayed on specialized knowledge for building cars and managing a business. Everything else? He hired people smarter than him. General knowledge won't make you rich. Wealth comes from finding specific knowledge that matters and going deep. Don't try knowing everything. Get clear on the exact knowledge that moves you closer to your goal. Ignore everything else. Law 5, imagination that creates reality. Everything around you started as an idea in someone's mind. Your phone, your chair, the building you're in. All imagination first, reality second. Imagination isn't daydreaming. It's the ability to see something in your mind before it exists physically. That's what entrepreneurs, inventors, and creators do. Your brain works differently when you imagine success. You begin noticing opportunities, making connections, taking actions that line up with that vision. Dr. Frank Gonzalez was a young preacher who saw massive flaws in America's education system. He wanted to build a college teaching practical skills and critical thinking. He needed $1 million, had no money, no land, no wealthy donors, just an idea. He had desire, he had faith, he'd imagined his college. But for 2 years, nothing happened. Then one day he said, the time for action is now. I need that million in a week. The moment he set that deadline, something clicked. Hello, newspapers, I have a plan. I'm going to give a sermon titled, What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million. He prepared that sermon immediately. When he finished writing, he went to bed imagining himself already owning that million. You could almost see it. Then, when he finished, a man approached him and said, I like what you describe. I believe you can do it. Come to my office tomorrow. I will give you the $1 million. And with that money, Dr. Gonzalez finally built the college. Desire is the spark, but without a plan, nothing happens. Start making a plan for your goal. Break it down, set deadlines, and get moving. What if the plan fails? That's not the end. That's temporary defeat, not permanent failure. It's a signal to adjust and keep going. Rich people plan, poor people hope. Make your plan, take action, and if it doesn't work, simple. Make a new plan. Law 7, decision that separates winners from losers. In 1908, Henry Ford launched the Model T. Boxy, basic, cheap. For over 10 years, it dominated. By the early 20s, over half of all cars on American roads were Fords. Then competition caught up. Chilleri and others offered more stylish options. Ford's customers wanted change. Even his top advisors and his own son told him it was time for a new model. Ford refused. For years, stuck with his decision, believed in it, didn't let outside opinions sway him. Only when sales finally dropped did he introduce a different model. You might think Ford was too rigid, refusing to change. But Hill's point is this: it was his character, his ability to stick to decisions that made him a fortune. Over 15 million Model T sold, best-selling car of its era. If you're easily influenced after making a decision, you will not succeed turning desire into money. Say you decide to build a subscription app. Then you see someone making hundreds of thousands selling courses, and suddenly you're tempted to switch. Don't. Make your decision, stick to it, give it time to pay off. Law 8. Persistence that outlasts obstacles. You've probably seen this image before. A man digging for diamonds. He's just a few feet away, but he gives up and walks off, while someone else right above him keeps digging and is about to hit the jackpot. So, they packed their gear, took the train to a mine out west, and started digging with shovels. After weeks of labor, yes, they discovered some gold. When they sent it to be processed, they found out it was from one of the richest veins in the region. They knew they were on track to make millions, but needed better equipment. Went back home, raised money from relatives and neighbors, bought a drilling machine, returned to the mine. As they drilled deeper, something happened. The gold vein disappeared. The junk dealer hired an engineer to examine the mine. Turns out the vein was just 3 feet from where Darby stopped drilling. The junk dealer continued, became a millionaire. Darby never forgot that lesson. Later in life, he became a top life insurance salesman. Why? He made himself a promise. I stopped 3 feet from gold. I'll never stop, just because people say no when I ask them to buy insurance. Most people stop digging too early. Face rejection, resistance, doubt, and think they're off track. Keep going. Be persistent. You might be 3 feet from your breakthrough. Law 9, Mastermind that multiplies intelligence. Henry Ford was uneducated and poor. Within 10 years, he overcame both. Within 25 years, he became one of America's richest men. His biggest secret? He surrounded himself with smart, successful people. Then he got close with 3 other brilliant innovators. When you hang around smart, successful people, you absorb their minds. When a group comes together with the same purpose, energy increases. That energy becomes available to every brain in the group. That's the mastermind principle. Your personal growth accelerates when you're part of a high-achieving group who support each other. Choose who you spend time with carefully. No smart people around you? Choose 2 or 3 people to follow online. Watch their videos. Study their interviews. Imagine you're on a plane about to take off. While still on the ground, you look out the window. You can see the airport, but not what's beyond. That's how your mind works at a low level. You only see what's in front of you. Problems, bills, stress, can't see beyond them. Once the plane takes off, suddenly you see everything from above. The airport, buildings, hills, the ocean. That's what happens when your mind rises to a higher level. You're no longer stuck seeing only problems because now you see the bigger picture. This is where you get your best ideas, flashes of inspiration, sudden hunches, creative solutions. Hill gives one important secret for reaching that higher level: sex transmutation. A study of 30,000 salesmen found the most successful ones had high sexual energy. This energy gave them personal magnetism. You could see it in their presence, Hear it in their voice. It helped them influence people. Here's the key. People who take their mind off sex and channel that energy into their work with passion are practicing sex transmutation, even if they don't realize it. All highly successful people in history had strong sexual energy, but having strong desire doesn't make you powerful. You have to channel it. When that desire kicks in, don't waste it. Pour it into work. Demand creativity, passion, and focus. Not random busy work like admin tasks. Help you rise beyond current problems. Even if you've loved and lost, Hill says memories of love are sufficient to lift you to a higher plane and help you rise above challenges. Law 11. Subconscious mind that connects to infinite intelligence. Think about a time you prayed for something and got it. How did you feel when you prayed? Chances are you prayed with strong faith, truly believing you'd receive it. Hill says our subconscious mind connects us to infinite intelligence. God, superior power, whatever you call it. We can't fully control our subconscious, but we can hand over any plan or desire to it. To believe that one day he could hear. He strongly believed it could happen. That belief is faith, a positive emotion. When you don't plant the positive, the negative dominates. Hill noticed many people only pray when everything else fails. And when they do, their prayers are filled with fear and doubt. What if this doesn't work? What if God doesn't answer? To superior intelligence. That's when ideas and plans start flowing. Hill lists 7 positive emotions that fuel your subconscious: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. If you don't plant these, 7 negative emotions take over: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Imagine it's the 1950s. A family gathers around a radio listening to a football game. The announcer at the stadium shouts, and everyone at home cheers. Behind the scenes, a reporter speaks into a mic. That sound turns into invisible waves, travels to a broadcasting tower, and the tower sends those waves to radios everywhere. At home, the family turns the dial to the right station, 101.3 FM, and instantly the announcer's voice comes through loud and clear. Hill says our brain works the same way. It can send thoughts and receive ideas. Here's where most people mess up. Imagine people at home can't hear the game, even though it's being broadcast. Why? They keep changing the channel. This is like people who keep changing their goal. Think, maybe I'll try that instead. In the radio example, it's like constantly changing channels and never staying at 101.3 FM. You miss the game even though it's being broadcast. When you choose one clear goal and stick to it, your brain starts tuning in. Suddenly you notice the right book, the right client, the right opportunity. It's like listening to the game from start to finish without touching the dial. You keep receiving every update. Remember the 7 positive emotions? Those boost your signal. Like turning the radio volume up. You hear ideas and opportunities coming through clearly. Be crystal clear about what you want. Repeat it daily with positive feelings. Stick with your goal. The signal is always there. The ideas are out there. You just need to stick with one goal to hear them. Law 13, sixth sense that guides decisions. He was waiting for inspiration. That sudden flash of knowing what to do. Hill calls this the sixth sense. It's part of your subconscious that acts like a receiver, picking up ideas and insights. You've experienced this. An idea suddenly popping into your head. These insights usually come when your mind is calm and quiet, which is why that financier closed his eyes. Meditation helps silence your mind, making it easier to receive flashes of inspiration. You can't force it, but when it shows up, listen. Hill says the sixth sense becomes stronger after you've mastered the previous principles: desire, faith, planning, persistence, all of it. Let me recap these 13 laws fast. Law 1, desire. Be crystal clear about what you want. Like Barnes wanting to be Edison's partner. Law 2, faith. Believe you can achieve it. Like Hill believing his son would hear and speak. Law 3, auto-suggestion. Feed your subconscious daily. Read your written statement twice daily with emotion, not just words. Law 4, specialized knowledge. Learn what you need for your goal. like Ford focusing only on car business knowledge. Law 5, imagination. Visualize people using your product, clients thanking you, money flowing into your account. Law 6, organize planning. Make a plan like Dr. Gonzalez planning his sermon. Don't just wish. Law 7, decision. Rich people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, like Ford with Model T. Poor people make decisions slowly and change them quickly. Law 8, precedisments. Never give up easily. Like Darby quitting 3 feet from gold, you might be 3 feet from your breakthrough. Law 9, mastermind. Surround yourself with smart people. Like Ford becoming friends with Edison, you absorb minds of people you hang with most. Law 10, sex transmutation. Channel desire into creative work. Law 11, subconscious mind. Feed your mind with positive emotions so negative emotions can't take over. Pray with faith, not fear. Law 12, the brain. Your brain broadcasts and receives ideas. Be clear about what you want and stick with it so you receive the right ideas. Law 13, sixth sense. Trust your hunches. When ideas come, act on them. Practice silencing your mind because ideas come easier when it's quiet. These aren't theories. They're patterns extracted from 500 of the richest people who ever lived. Barnes used them to become Edison's partner. If you want to dive deeper into building unstoppable persistence, subscribe for more videos like this. The real work starts now.